Week 8 fantasy football is crucial. If you want to win your week, this is the show to listen to. I'm going to give you all the optimal starts at each position based on matchup, including my 5 favorite starts of the week to make sure you guys have the optimal roster. If you're new to the channel, smash it, tap it, slap it. Also to help you guys win, if you are new to the channel, if you haven't hit the bell, turn on the bell and drop your starts to these questions. I'll try to get to as many as I can. We are talking must starts for fantasy football week 8, a must-win week for a lot of people, including yourself if you're watching this. Make sure you guys do hit the thumbs up, and let's get to it. All right, welcome. We're going to go through each and every position and go through all the optimal matchups at each position, quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, and the optimal defenses. And again, at the end, I'm going to give you guys my 5 favorite starts of the week. Week 8 is here. Let's dive right into it. Starting off with the quarterback position, pulling it up here. Now, if you're in the car, I'm going to go through this verbally. You can listen here as well. Jordan Love, amazing matchup versus Jacksonville. Coming off 2 hot weeks consecutively, 19 points and 27, including 3 weeks, 17 points the week before. Jordan Love is in full strength. Love him this week. If you are in a bind and you're like, I'm trying to debate between this quarterback and this quarterback, Jordan Love's the guy. I know someone DM me say, should I start Jordan Love or this guy? Just start Jordan Love. I mean, he's in such a great position to start, crush it this week. Now, if I don't mention a player, I'm not going to go through the rough starts. I'm just going for the must starts, not the rough starts, the must starts. If a player is not put up here, I want to give a disclaimer here. If a player is not on here as an optimal start and he's being consistent, example, Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley, don't have an optimal matchup. I think Henry's got the 9th hardest matchup for his position. I got both those guys on my team. I'm still going to start them. So this is just a key factor to help you saying, oh, I've got this player and this player. I'm torn between 2. That guy's got an optimal matchup. I may lean that way. Okay, so that's my advice to you guys. All right, let's keep going. So guys that have optimal matchups again, Kirk Cousins, great matchup here versus Tampa Bay. Jameson Winston as a relief pitcher here for the injured Deshaun Watson, who's been absolutely terrible anyway. And now you've got Winston coming into a good matchup against Baltimore. They're not as good against the pass. So Winston going into a prime position. If you need to stream a quarterback or get a second quarterback in a super flex, or you're desperate, or your second quarterback in a super flex or a 2-quarterback league is not performing, Winston could be a viable option here, or it could be completely busting, but the matchup is favorable. Bo Nix coming off some decent weeks here. Great matchup versus Carolina. Brock Purdy versus Dallas. Dallas has just been absolutely terrible. So Brock Purdy an option. Baker Mayfield, Jalen Hurts, great matchup. Russell Wilson coming off a hot week. Anthony Richardson, who's been mediocre, does have a good matchup. CJ Stroud and Pat Mahomes. A lot of people saying, should we drop Pat Mahomes? I mean, if you have a better option, yes. Pat Mahomes has not been the same Pat Mahomes. Could he get an uptick? Possibly. They just added Hopkins there. They've got, they're making a run. They really are trying to make a run for a 3-peat. I think he does okay. Man, I set 14 points, 17 to 14. He's safe. He's just not like 25-point type Pat Mahomes. There's other guys outperforming him, including Russell Wilson, his first game back, and many other quarterbacks, as you can see here. Even Brock Purdy, Baker Mayfield outperforming him. There's a bunch of guys. Okay, now Baker Mayfield's going to be without, understand this, he's got an optimal matchup. He's going to be without his top 2 receivers, so that may take a hit. So you guys got to, allocate and make up for this. You guys got to compensate, right? You got to know what's up. Jared Goff, Josh Allen, mid-range matchups. Okay, now if I didn't mention them, they have a tougher matchup versus position. It's up to you guys to make the executive decision on that. Moving on to the running back position here. Now with running backs, this position, I told you at the beginning of the season, is slim and trim. You want to make sure you get those workhorse running backs. That's why I went either by Jan earlier on, but I only had like 1 or 2 leagues, I think, where I went earlier on. And then most of my other leagues I drafted later. So I went Barkley and I stacked it with Henry. And some people are like, there's no way you have Barkley and Henry. I do. I actually do. And I posted it in my story. I'll post it again in my story mode on Instagram so people don't believe me. For all the haters out there, you got to get 16 rounds. You guys keep hating, but you keep losing. So grab 16 rounds. With running back, like I said, you need to make sure you start the guys that are consistent. Now you can see Barkley, Henry here, tough matchups. I have them laid out here for you. You got the 9th hardest matchup versus Derrick Henry, and then you got the mid-range matchup for Saquon Barkley. So I'm still going to start them regardless. But let's go through the optimal matchups. Javonte Williams coming off a hot week. He's playing Carolina. Great matchup. If you have him, might not be a fluke. You might want to start him again. Jordan Mason was limited in practice. His shoulder's still bothering him. Good matchup this week. Brees Hall, love him this week. 29 points and 25 the past couple weeks. Refreshed offense. He's going to continue to eat as it opens things up with Devontae Adams in there now and Garrett Wilson opening up the field, opening up for the running game. This is huge, okay? James Conner, good matchup here. J.K. Dobbins, great matchup as well. Fourth easiest versus position. Great matchup, okay? Let's keep going here. Who else has got a good matchup? Aaron Jones, banged up, but he came back and he did well. He had that big breakout run for a touchdown, 21 fantasy points last week. Good stuff for Aaron Jones. I mean, he's getting it done, but I still don't trust him. I don't think he stays healthy for the rest of the year. James Cook, great matchup versus Seattle. Kareem Hunt, great matchup. Kareem the Dream. Josh Jacobs, great matchup, coming off a 20-point game. He was been kind of lackluster all season, but he's kind of stepping it up as of late. So Josh Jacobs, consideration this week. And then you've got this three-headed monster with Achane, Monster, Wright here. And, Achane's got a good matchup, 11 points last week. We got Tua coming back. A lot of people excited about Achane. Fire him up if you got him. I mean, you spent a top 10 pick on him. He's a top 10 running back. I told you to avoid him. He's been inconsistent the entire year. Look at that, 6 points, 3 points, 11 his last 3 outings. Very inconsistent, as I said he would be. I mean, Miami's just so hard to trust, okay? But if you got him, why not? And then buy Jay at a relatively easy matchup, and same with Joe Mixon, okay? Again, if I don't mention them, and they've been consistent, fire them up. Play them. Start your starters, okay? But I'm laying out the optimal starts at each position. Let's keep going here. Again, stay to the end as I go through my 5 favorite this week that have great matchups. See, like Jefferson here had the 13th easiest matchup. It was a kind of mid-range matchup, but you're not going to sit Jefferson, right? All right, let's take a look at these wide receivers here. Judy, great matchup. All right, guys, I want to take a quick break to tell you something very important. I've teamed up with mybookie.ag, and if you use the code FFC right now and sign up, on your first deposit, you're going to get 100% match deposit. So if you put 100 in, you're going to get 100 back. If you put 300 in, you get 300 up to $1,000, like play with house money. MyBookie.ag, the code you want to use is FFC to enhance your game watching experience. And if you want my picks, I've also created a course, The Counselor's Edge, where I released all of the winning picks. Last week, I only missed on 3. Guys, everybody's winning with The Counselor's Edge. So go take advantage of this amazing opportunity to cash in. MyBookie.ag is a site you want to play. Put down the deposit, use code FFC. They will double it and get The Counselor's Edge for an amazing advantage in bets right now, guys. MyBookie.ag, go visit them, create an account, put down the deposit, and DM me. Let me know how you're doing at Fantasy Football Counselor on Instagram. If I get to the DM, I'm inundated, but I'll try to check it out and see how you guys are doing, all right? MyBookie.ag, the code you want to use, FFC, get in now. Cedric Tillman coming off that big week, and he's got a good matchup. I know a lot of people picked him up off waiver wire. Start him up. Fire him up. Why not? I mean, what do you got to lose here? They got no one else. You just got to start Tillman. Go for it. Go for it. Start Tillman. Great matchup. No regrets. Coming off a big week. Cooper Kupp coming back. You got to start him here. Cooper Kupp comes back to a great matchup versus Minnesota. Good stuff. Fire him up. Romeo Doubs. Now, everyone kept bothering me about this, and they're saying Reed is the one, and Wicks is the one, and Watson's the one. Dobbs has been the one the past 2 games, 20 points and 17. Clear contrast compared to the 15 and 3 that Reed had, the 2 and 14 that Wicks had, and the 16 and 2 that Watson had. Look at the numbers. Numbers don't lie, guys. Romeo Doubs has emerged as the one, as I said he would be. Why would I know this? Because last year in the playoffs, he was the number 1 targeted guy. Simple. And in off-season, in the summer training camp, they're saying that Dobbs is the guy. And I was like, just draft Dobbs. And this guy is outperforming the past 2 weeks guys that were drafted in the 2nd round, right? Guys like Marvin Harrison Jr., guys like Malik Neighbors, even big name guys, right? Like DJ Moore's of the world, right? Everyone that was investing in those high draft capital picks of wide receivers. I do want to tell you a quick story though. For fun, I'm in 7 leagues. This is a true story, okay? I did everything 16 rounds away, and I've got winning leagues. Now, I just did a test, and I said, let's go 0 RB. And I ran a league, man. And I ran a league with 0 RB. And guess what? I am in that league. I'm 1-6. I purposely drafted a team that was against everything I believed in to test it. And that team right now is, I think it's 1-6. I'm going to pull up that team for you. So, you know how bad, so my wide receivers, because I tried the 0 RB, I went Marvin Harrison, I think in the 2nd. My first round pick, I don't know who my first round pick was. It was a wide receiver nonetheless. I gotta pull it up. I'm gonna share it in my story mode. Yeah, so I went Harrison and Malik. My number one running back was Zamir White. And you say, well, Joe, why? And Ty Chandler. Those guys were coming off round 5 to 6. I was like, okay, I need a running back. But that's how thin it got. The Zamir White was my RB1. And, I got McConkey, but he hasn't been the greatest. But Marvin Harrison Neighbors was supposed to Laporta as well, I got in the early rounds as well. I'm like, let's just do what the Kachipses do. I ended up still anchoring that team with Josh Allen, and I still managed to get Romeo Dobbs, who's now stepping it up just to cover myself. But my running backs are super trim, right? So this was a test. I'm like, let's just do everything against how I feel and just load up on wide receivers, and I'm paying the consequences 1 and 6. I'm going to show that team to you guys later, and for 60 rounds next year to do. This is why 60 rounds works. I wanted to kind of test it, but it was a very hard draft for me because I'm going against everything I believe in. So anyway, I wanted to share that with you. Running backs are crucial, and all the teams that have Saquon Henry, I'm winning and I'm doing great, okay? So let's keep going through these wide receivers here. We got, who else we got here? Calvin Ridley. Now, they got rid of Hopkins, so Ridley's got to step it up here. We got Zay Flowers, great matchup as well. All great matchups. Ridley, Zay Flowers, DJ Moore, but you're in this three-headed monster situation here, right? DJ Moore had that good week, a couple weeks ago, whatever, and then look at this, and then Keenan Allen stepped up the last time they played, right? So this is the type of roulette that you're going to get where, Allen had the 6-point the week that Moore had the 31, and Moore had the 6-point game when Allen had the 21-point game. Rome Odunze, he's just a wash here the past 3 weeks. So this is what I try to tell you. If you're going to take the risk later with wide receivers, do it with Dobbs. And I did that. It's exactly how I called it, which is amazing. Make sure you guys smash the thumbs up if you guys listen to 60 rounds. Either way, welcome to the Truth Channel, right? We got Jabbar Chase here, 12 points, 18 points. Great matchup here. Start for sure. Michael Pittman, you might want to consider starting him, but he is banged up, actually. Take a look. I heard they might all start, but just check out their injury designation. Great matchup here, but Anthony Richardson's he's got to step up, man. AR. Tyreek Hill, good start this week, and great matchup versus Arizona, coming back with Tua. He just did a post here, a message to fantasy listeners like, fire me up, I'm ready to go. Go check my Insta. I posted that as well at Fantasy Football Counselor. Cortland Sutton coming off a donut weekend, man. Donut week. What a rough week, but he's got a good matchup versus Carolina. Troy Franklin seems to be emerging because remember, he had that connection with Bo Nix. He was a sleeper 16 rounds. Drake London must start as well. All these guys must start. Now, Tampa Bay, I would say Jaleel McLaughlin is the next guy in line. Sterling Shepard, years to wow us. We're not wowed. They've got injuries. Someone's got to catch the ball. Jaleel McLaughlin, if you got him off waiver wire, fire him up. And Garrett Wilson, a good matchup. Now, again, if I'm not mentioning your player, for example, Deontay Johnson, here's some rougher matchups. Greg Dortch, Marvin Harrison, who's been putting up like donuts. Tough matchups if I'm not mentioning them, okay? I'm just going over the optimal starts, okay? Tight end position, I'd say this in every single video. Start the best possible tight end that's been good for you. In my case, I got Ferguson. I'm going to start him this week. I'm not going to sit him. It's been crazy, but you got to start your Brock Bowers. He's actually got a good matchup for sure, right? Tucker Kraft, he's been pretty safe. Good matchup, okay? Start him. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. David Njoku, right? Great matchup too. You got to start him. Kyle Pitts, great matchup. Start him up, right? Kincaid, great matchup, right? Start him up. Evan Ingram, check the injury designation. We should be good to go. Great matchup here. If not, Brenton Strange has been stepping up when he's been at, right? Colby Parkinson, decent matchup as well. Start him up. Tight end, if your tight end is getting volume, if your tight end is getting targets, start him up. Get him going, okay? Let's go through defenses here as well. Optimal defenses to start here. And again, at the end, I'm going to give you guys my 5 favorite players. We got the Chiefs. We got KC versus Las Vegas. That's a great matchup to start here. Lions versus Detroit. Great matchup. Ravens versus Cleveland. That defense is probably not available, but if they are, good matchup. Cardinals versus Miami. But this case, again, Miami's been bad this year. The algorithm is factoring that Miami's been bad. So with Tua coming back, this could not be a favorable matchup. So again, the algorithm picks up how bad a team has been, how good a team has been, and it's favoring, the Cardinals, but Miami could come back strong. Jets versus New England, good matchup. Steelers versus the Giants, Chargers versus New Orleans, Broncos versus Carolina, 49ers versus Dallas, and Bills versus Seattle. all optimal matchups. And guys, you want to consider streaming this upcoming week. Because some people say, well, Chargers, how's that good? Well, I mean, look at the Saints. They're completely bagged up, all right? Now, let's give those 5 players that I absolutely think are the best position to succeed this week, including a defense. We got Jordan Love. He's one of my favorite quarterbacks this week versus Jacksonville. Breece Hall. I mean, that new refreshed offense, and he looked good last week. He's going to run for a huge run, I think, this week. He's so explosive in that offense, man. Could be something special. They need to win. They need to win this week. The Jets need to win. Tyreek Hill versus Arizona, Drake London versus Tampa Bay, and the Steelers versus the Giants, okay? I do like Tyreek Hill this week coming back. He's going to come back angry, should do well. And the Steelers versus the Giants. I mean, Steelers, Watt's been an absolute menace. What a defense the Steelers have been. And those are my 5 favorite. Tyreek, Drake London, Steelers, Breece, and Jordan Love. In great positions to succeed, great matchups, and are primed for a big, massive week, all right? If you have any starts to this questions, drop them below. I'll get to as many as I can. And make sure you guys are subscribed, turn on that bell, smash it, tap it, slap it, and make sure you guys join the Counselor's Edge. I've linked it below to get an edge in all of the sports picks. We'll talk soon, guys. I appreciate it. I'm out.